is Inside Out.
Inside Out is presented by HTC. This is Life. Connect with it. And Magnolia's at 26th for good old-fashioned Southern comfort food where Mama eats. Along with the McGuire Law Firm. Be kind today and tomorrow.
Happy New Year, everyone, and welcome to Inside Out. This month, we're going to hear from the Humane Society of North Myrtle Beach, SOS Care, Molly's Morsels, Hobcaw Barony, and Seacoast Artists Guild. But we begin with one of the most positive people I know. He has dedicated his life to education, as well as making a difference in the lives of others, as you'll hear when this interview comes up. And that's the best way I know to kick off 2021 with Preston McKever-Floyd. So I was looking for something very positive in order to start this show in the new year. And so I turned to my Facebook page and pulled up my most positive Facebook friend, being Preston McKever-Floyd. He retired 5 years ago from Coastal Carolina University after teaching philosophy, religion, and women and gender studies. And Preston, do you miss it?
That's a loaded question.
I bet you do. And I bet it doesn't seem like 5 years.
It does not seem like 5 years. And I miss the collegiality. I miss the sharing of information and knowledge a lot. But I still kind of do that each day on Facebook.
You do. You're always positive. I mean, I've deleted so many people who were talking politics or being negative. I want to surround myself with positivity. And that's what you represent. You've always been that way.
Thank you.
And Preston, you grew up here.
I did
indeed. Tell me a little bit about your growing up and going to Conway High School.
Sure. I was born in 1950. And I grew up here in Conway. I grew up in the home of the first African-American policeman in the state of South Carolina.
Your daddy?
My father, Samuel P. Floyd, Sr., and a very lovely and wonderful mother who was 19 years his junior.
Wow.
So she was quite young, and she was really a lot of the inspiration for my lifelong learning. It started very early. And in 1966, during what is known as the freedom of choice era, my family and I, we decided that I would go to Conway High School. And I graduated in 1968, and I was one of 5 African Americans in that first graduation class at Conway High School. And so I've had when I look back over it now after 7 decades, I realized that I had a very wonderful life, a very wonderful childhood. I do realize that my parents shielded my siblings and me from a lot of the things in the world. So I learned a lot of that late, really, a lot of the negatives. And of course, my father would have had to face quite a bit of challenges, but he never told us any terrible stories. He went on the police force in 1947 here in Conway.
Wow. So he saw a lot of racial strife for sure.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
In talking with you earlier, I found out that something very interesting happened to you because of Facebook. Yes. Tell us how you get a phone call from someone who says, "Would you be my father?" That is strange.
Very, very, at least I thought so at the time, very strange. But anyway, this young man befriended me. He's from Liberia, but at the time he was playing soccer in Laos, Southeast Asia. And we started chatting, and then eventually he asked me would I be his father. And I told him I'd have to pray about that because I didn't know what that meant. So I called a colleague from Sierra Leone, and she told me it was a great honor. And then the other thing I didn't know that many Liberian children don't have fathers because of the revolutions that took place there up until 2003. But as it turns out, he does indeed have a biological father who just passed away. And his father, before dying, told his mother to tell me to take care of his son.
That gave me chills. But I know that this has become one of the most incredible relationships in your life.
Absolutely. We have known each other now, oh my goodness, about 5 years. And almost every day I hear from him. And when he returned from Laos to Liberia, we were chatting one day about the children. He was concerned about the children in his neighborhood. And that is how we came up with the idea of starting an academy. At this point, the academy is not a full educational institution, but that's what our dream is for it to become. But it is a free after-school, weekend, and summer program. Education is the primary goal, but we use soccer to teach life skills and leadership skills. We serve 150 children. We have 33 who are on scholarship from K through 12, and we now have 14 children in college. And I'm grateful.
You've pulled so many of your friends in. You've had fundraisers for this facility. You have made it so. Tell me more about, is it Sibo? Is your son's name Sibo?
Sibo, yes, Sibo.
Sibo, what part is he playing in the school?
He is the assistant executive director. We have another young man, Abraham Wessa, who's an educator and a well-known soccer coach there. They're all very young people, but rather accomplished, and he is the executive director.
Well, after looking at your Facebook page, I'm overwhelmed, especially watching the children sing happy birthday to you in English when they, of course, don't speak English, but they did a beautiful job of that. It had to make you cry.
It did. It did. And I'm not generally given to much emotion, but that really kind of, even now if I play it, it really kind of gets to me.
But Preston, I find it just impossible to think that you have not been over there yet to get the hugs and kisses from those kids.
That will be overwhelming, but I will go. But the money that I would spend to go, I have been using for things there. Because at this point, I'm not a full 501(c), which I'm working on. And so most of the funding, I have had a few fundraisers, but most of the funding actually comes out of a retired college professor's pension.
Well, we know that's not a ton of money, but you're doing the best you can.
Absolutely. But I'm very grateful because the beautiful thing is that a little money goes a long ways in Liberia.
So obviously anybody watching us right now who would like to help, they can certainly go to your Facebook page or email you and contribute and get involved in some way.
Certainly. I would be very pleased for the sake of the children. It's really wonderful to see what has happened in their lives in the past 5 years. It's absolutely amazing. And I'm rather well known in Liberia and nobody has seen me.
Well, the Youth Academy is named after you. So your name is famous. I think it's wonderful that you're educating the kids through soccer, but I also saw on the Facebook page the fact that many of these kids are hungry.
Yes, and especially it was very problematic because of COVID, and the country was shut down. And rice is a very big staple there. And so I decided to do rice distributions, and people gave, which was very helpful. And I was able to do, or we were able to do, 2 distributions of rice. And we were able to touch 100 or more families. And my college students, the scholarship students who are in college, helped distribute the rice both times. And one of the things that we like to teach to the children is giving back to your community.
As you have done here, for sure.
Thank you so much.
So how about a little inspiration for the new year?
Okay. One of the things that I notice in our world is that we feel that we must do whatever we do, we must get credit for it. And in order for me to win, you must lose. And I would like to ask us to reconsider. And I would certainly like to say this: never stop giving your best because you don't get credit for it. Do the work for the work's sake. Do the work, and then we all win, because we are all in this universe. We all are connected, whether we choose to be or not, whether we want to divide ourselves according to certain categories. We are all connected. We breathe the same air, we drink from the same water, we live on the same planet.
Thank you, Preston. Thank you so much. You see why I love this man. I also want to say thank you for changing the face of Liberia one child at a time. You are making a difference, and I hope others will take that lead in 2021. Happy New Year, my friend Preston.
Thank you, and the same to you.
How about something to love in this new year? Up next, the Humane Society of North Myrtle Beach.
No matter where the day takes me, HTC provides the high-speed internet services I need. HTC delivers faster speeds, 24/7 local tech support, and free in-home Wi-Fi right here to Horry and Georgetown counties. As trusted community members serving up world-class internet service, I know HTC will keep my family connected to what matters most. Because you are here, and so are we.
High-speed internet starting at 300 megabits per second and up to 1 gig for just $49.95.
HTC. This is life. Connect with it.
This segment of HTC Inside Out is presented by the McGuire Law Firm. Be kind today and tomorrow.
Well, let's see what our friends at the Humane Society of North Myrtle Beach did not get for Christmas. Let's complete their Christmas wish list. So here it is, January, Tina. Are you sad that there's something Santa didn't bring you?
Honestly, we were very blessed this holiday season, but it's going to sound a little weird, but we are still incredibly short on paper towels, toilet paper,
of course,
and bleach. We have struggled throughout COVID to get those items, and I think that if we could pick 3 things that we need more of, those are the 3 things.
Well, you know, when folks are going to the grocery store, I hope that they'll pick those things up, especially if they're not able to bring another animal into their home or they can't have pets. This is something they can do for you.
Please, absolutely.
Let's talk about how COVID has influenced your nonprofit organization with the animals.
COVID has changed the face of animal welfare, honestly.
It's changed the face of everything, Tina.
Absolutely. But a lot of people don't think about how it has affected animal welfare and animal shelters. It has taught us some very valuable lessons. During COVID, we had to really rely on our community more so than we've ever relied on the community. I've been in animal welfare, as you know, for over 23 years. So
almost your whole life.
I've spent my whole adult life in the animal shelter. And we're always full. We're always packed. We always have more animals than we can actually care for. But what COVID taught us is that all we have to do is ask our community to help. And when COVID first started last March, we didn't know what we were going to do. What if our staff gets sick? What if our volunteers get sick? So our first goal was to try to get as many shelter pets in foster care as we could. And we put that plea out there, and the community responded like never before. At one point, I'd say it was about in May, we literally had less than a dozen animals in the animal shelter and had over 160 animals in foster care.
Did a lot of them get adopted because the fosters fell in love with them?
a lot of them did get adopted in foster care, and that's okay. You know, a lot of places call that foster failure, but we prefer to call those foster wins, because once an animal is in a loving home environment, that's all we can ask for. That's our ultimate goal. So what COVID has taught us is that we can ask our community to help us. The animals are so much better off mentally if they're in a home, if they're surrounded by people that love them, whether it's a permanent adoption or whether it's a foster situation. So that's really been our focus since COVID began, was sort of moving the shelter and changing our mentality so that we know that we can rely on our community and we can ask them to help us take care of these animals. We have found that when we empower our community to help us by facilitating adoptions, help us by caring for animals in their homes, we're able to take on animals in the shelter that we may not have been able to take on, little tougher cases, as you might say. We wouldn't be able to handle those animals if our shelter was overcrowded. So it's been a really great partnership, and our goal for 2021 is to just continue on that path and to continue to be a support service for our community by engaging our community and empowering them to help us. The shelter is only as good as its community.
Well, let me ask you this, Tina. If foster people keep taking in the animals, when people come to the shelter, what do? Do you show them the website, show them what's available? How does that work?
Well, currently that's what we're doing at the shelter to limit exposure around the building. So if folks want to come in and adopt, we have all the profiles of the pets online. So we're encouraging folks to look online, look at the animal's bio, look at the animal's picture, and then they schedule an adoption appointment. And then we bring that animal up to the front lobby for them to meet, or we meet them outside and take the dog for a walk. So it's really the same thing. When the fostered animals have an inquiry, we just ask the foster to bring the animal to the shelter to meet the potential adopter. And it's a wonderful thing. If you had asked me 10 years ago, would we ever move to this sort of model, I would have said, no, this won't work. But it has been such a huge improvement, and it's really allowed us to facilitate better adoptions. It's allowed us to get to know our adopters a little bit better. Now that we have folks scheduled, we can spend a little bit more time with them when they come in, because that's our ultimate goal, is to match people with pets that are best suited for them, for their lifestyle.
Well, that's exactly what you did 13 years ago, and that's why I think Tosca has decided to join us, because I adopted her 13 years ago off of television when you all brought her to me and put her in my lap. She was only 4 months old, and I fell in love. And so she wanted to see Aunt Tina again. So, hey, say hi to Aunt Tina. And she's our little lover, and she talks all the time. And that's why we called her Tosca, because she's like an opera singer. So with that in mind, people can go to your website, and they too can fall in love and adopt.
Absolutely. As I said, we have all the profiles, pictures, and you have to check out our photos. We've upped that a notch too. Most of the animals at the shelter get glamour photos, so they have really great photos. And the staff and volunteers, they spend a lot of time writing up biographies of the animals, just to help us when we go to match people up with the pets.
Well, I hope that through this interview, you can get more volunteers. And finally, I know you won't say it, but on your Christmas wish list had to be a new shelter, because I don't know of any shelter in the community that needs more updating than yours. And you guys really need help. I hope that the council and the mayor will step up to the plate very soon and make sure you have a better facility.
Absolutely. We call our shelter a small but mighty shelter. We have saved hundreds of thousands of animals in that little building since the 70s, but we have definitely outgrown that facility. And animal sheltering has changed since that facility was built. We no longer do the same things that we did back in those days. Animals aren't given time limits and so forth. We definitely are a no-kill shelter, and we have to in order to expand, we're going to eventually have to get a new facility that's more inviting and more welcoming to the public. So
Amen.
We're working on it.
And finally, Tina, your address.
Our shelter is at 409 Bay Street in North Myrtle Beach.
You can tell she's a talker. I certainly met my match with this cat, didn't I?
Yes,
Tina,
ma'am.
have a wonderful, happy new year. Thanks for being with us, and I wish you all the best. Thanks for what you're doing for all of God's creatures.
Thank you.
You bet. We'll be back. All right, you artisans, I've got something for you coming up next.
The bedrock principle that drives our law firm is our unyielding dedication to working for the best interests of our clients.
The whole staff of the firm were very welcoming and nurturing to us. Everyone in the family was cared for.
This firm has made us feel so welcome and comforted, stepping us through and making us feel like family.
We will take care of you and make sure that you're treated fairly and treated properly.
Do you remember when you couldn't find Canadian geese anywhere? And now they're everywhere. But you know what? They're pretty endearing creatures. They mate for life. I like that. This month's video, Canadian geese. It's a new year, and I suggest getting involved with something new. How about Seacoast Artists Gallery? It's a wonderful place. I've been a member there, and they are first class. It's at Market Common. I'm sure you've passed it many times. I want you to meet the gallery director. This is Nick Mariano. And Nick, first of all, how long have you lived on the Grand Strand?
Oh, God, I've been here since 96.
So yeah, you're a local now. And
Yeah.
tell us about your art and why you got involved in the gallery.
Yeah, I don't know. My wife was into art more than me, and then she encouraged me to get, to do some art. And then I entered a show actually at Seacoast and won a ribbon. And then after that, I just kept going.
When you're doing your photography, what has been one of your favorite subjects?
Well, I mean, I work and I still do some work for the government. So my best photography, I think, is stuff I've done overseas. And I think the best place that I've ever done anything is when I went to the Masamora Reserve in Kenya. And we spent 3 days there filming the animals there with a guy that we knew and had to run of the park where the tourists normally don't go. And so, we were shooting pictures of cheetahs and lions from 2 or 3 feet away. and some of the pictures, I mean, are so detailed that one in particular I had where there was a little fly on the cheetah's nose, and you could actually see the wings.
That's close.
The wing of the fly. So I mean, I think that was like the tops of anything I've ever done. That, and I do some underwater photography too, and that's kind of fun.
Tell me about the gallery. Let's brag for people who have never been in Seacoast.
Well, I mean, the gallery's been around for, I guess, about 6 or 7 years. We have right now 70 artists that are there. And it's a big variety. I mean, we have watercolors, we have acrylics, oil. I just picked up a new artist that does abstract. We have a ton of photographers. And then we have one woman who does bronze sculptures. We have 3 potters who do pottery and ceramic things. So it's a nice variety of artists and people, and each one is a little different, but at the same time we do get a lot of other subject matter that is varied and I think is a nice mix for a gallery.
It's very reasonable to be a member of the gallery, so certainly look that up online. But I want you to plug some of your classes that may be coming up. And I know it depends on the pandemic situation, but I've taken some classes there myself, and they're a wonderful way to move forward in your art.
Yeah, right now we have one class going on 3 times a week, and I'm not really sure what one it is, but I believe it's an oil painting. The individual teaching it also does like a drawing class and painting class with live models, but we haven't got into that yet. It's kind of limited now with the virus. We can only have like 6 students at a time doing the class, and then depending on what happens in January, a woman who teaches watercolor, I believe, is going to start a class up twice a month. We have a camera club that meets once a month and talks about different photography techniques and different things, and occasionally they'll go out on an excursion and take pictures of different areas together, and then come back to the gallery and hash over what they did and show each other their pictures and critique it. Starting January, again, we have a group called Art Buddies, which is a group of people who bring in stuff that they're working on, and then everybody sits around and critiques each other's art, for better or worse, so that the artist can get an idea of if people like it or don't like it, or just generally to get together and talk about art.
I think it's neat too, Nick, that Seacoast networks with other art groups, and you have shows with other art groups. You work with the Art Museum and Waccamaw Arts and Crafts Guild. Yeah,
we have the gallery itself, or the guild, has a fall and spring show, and then Waccamaw does their spring show at the gallery, or at the Art Museum, and then they do their fall show at the gallery. So for a month in the fall and spring, the gallery's closed for the show, and then we reopen and rehang everything. And our shows are open to any member, whether you're in the gallery or not. So any person who belongs to the guild, which I think numbers about 300 and some members now, can be in the show.
So how easy is it for people to get involved?
Well, first off, anybody can join the guild. The guild is just a group of artists. When the pandemic's not going on, we have monthly meetings and a guest speaker. And so, for a minimal fee, you can join the guild. If you want to join the gallery and actually hang your art, then basically you have to be a guild member. You have to submit your samples of your work to a committee, or right now to me, to see if that's the kind of art that we actually want in the gallery. And then we do charge a fee, yearly fee, for people to hang their art there, and then we take out a commission also, and then the rest goes to the artist for any sales.
So it's very easy. All you have to do is call the gallery to get involved or go to their website for more information. So Happy New Year to you, Nick, and thank you so much for doing this. And I guess I can say I'll see you around the gallery.
Okay, thanks. I appreciate the opportunity.
You got it. Seacoast Artists Gallery. It's in Market Common. Don't miss it. Just around the corner, you'll hear about a terrible tragedy that led to a successful business endeavor. Help for Kids and Backpack Buddies need our support more than ever before. They are feeding hundreds of families throughout our community during this difficult time, not just kids. And so if you can make a donation or prefer to drop off some food items, they will be forever grateful. This is an all-volunteer organization, one of the best in our area. Please help them to help our neighbors. Help for Kids and Backpack Buddies, 2523 Forest Brook Road in Myrtle Beach. Our food segment this month features dog food. And why not? Our dogs need to have a happy new year as well. I want you to meet Tara Ewalt. She happens to own a business called Molly's Morsels, which she's had about 2 years now, and she's selling product all over the world. And isn't that awesome, Tara? Tell me how you got started in this.
Thank you. Well, it's kind of a sad story, and I don't want to make people sad because it has a positive outcome. My son was killed 4 years ago, and I could not continue working or functioning. So I was really depressed. I couldn't get out of bed. So a friend of mine suggested that I go find a dog. So I wanted to find a dog. I wanted a big black lab, which I do have now, but that was later. And this dog, who was teeny tiny, barky, kind of crazy, wouldn't stop trying to get me from the cage. So I said, fine, and I walked with her, and that was it. And then fast forward a couple months later.
Let me stop just a moment. When you walked Molly, what did that feel like, that you knew she was the dog for you?
Well, what happened was I didn't walk her. I watched somebody walking her, but she kept turning around. And then I sat down on the ground, and that was it. And I just knew she was the dog for me. It just felt like a perfect match. I wouldn't have picked her, but I'm glad that she picked me because she knew that I needed her. So that worked out very well. So then a little bit later, she developed some food allergies, and we thought she was getting bit by bugs or fire ants. So it turned out they were allergies. And a friend of mine, her husband's a dog nutritionist, so he kind of helped me figure out she was allergic to beef. So then I couldn't give her food, and then when I would buy treats, it's really weird because even if you buy chicken treats, sometimes they have bone meal in them from beef. So you really have to look, and they put these gobbledygook words so you don't know that it's in there. So then I started to take derivatives of her meals and make fun treats. That's how it started.
So you're not making dog food, you're just making treats. What's your hottest selling treat?
The CBD treats. They sell pretty quickly and they sell a lot. And then everyone always asks me what the favorite flavor is, and all of them sell like crazy. So it depends on your dog.
Well, let's talk about that. CBD treats.
Yes.
Is that for hyper dogs, depressed dogs? What's the story?
Well, it started because my daughter's dog, Luna, she'll be 15, and she had arthritis. So a friend of mine, she owns Ask Nutrition. So she suggested I try to put it in the treats. And I was like, no, I don't think so. So then I did, and the results were amazing. She started to run in the dog park up and down the fence. One of the people who knew us said, I want what she has. So what it does, it reduces the swelling in their joints. It helps with the pain. It also takes it takes their anxiety level down. So if you have a dog who has major separation anxiety, and a lot of people are finding this because of the pandemic, everyone was in the house.
Yes.
So now they're leaving the house and their dogs are losing their minds, chewing at the crates, chewing at the doors. So I tell people this is a really, really great thing, and you have to do a little bit of behavior modification with that too.
So do you use CBD oil in the product, or do you use powder of some sort?
I use CBD oil. The oil I get is directly from Oregon, so there's no fillers. I worked with the manufacturer and the store owner to figure out the dosage and what works. The way that I make it, because I dehydrate everything, that's why nothing has preservatives. Because when I dehydrate, it keeps it fresh without adding any preservatives. So the way that it's made and the amount I use, it's actually pretty strong, but it's still the guidelines from the Department of Agriculture and the FDA.
Do you make these things right in your own kitchen?
Yes.
Now, if we were in person and not Zooming, I would want to taste your peanut butter bacon treats. They sound awesome.
They're actually good. You can eat them. And I have tasted every single one, and people laugh at me. But you can eat them. They're just really dry because they're dehydrated.
So you could actually sprinkle them on top of dog food, or just give them to your dog as a treat.
Yes, and you can also, what it does if you sprinkle the food, sometimes dogs get tired of their food, so they pull a strike. So Molly does that all the time because she's very spoiled. I work for my dog, so she has her own company. So what you can do is put a quarter cup of water, warm water, and 2 of the morsels. Shake it up and make some broth. So what I have to do with her is play Jedi mind tricks. Because I'll put the sprinkles on it and she's like, yay, for about a week. And then after that, she's like, I want something different. So I put the broth on, but it's the same exact thing. And the only difference with our stuff is there's no salt, no preservatives. So if you're going to use regular broth, you're going to get all that salt, those preservatives. This doesn't have any of that.
Now, I can picture you in your kitchen with an apron making all these delicious treats, but I can't picture you with the chicken feet, because I saw that on your website that you have chicken feet to feed your dog. Tell me about that.
Yes, it's gross. I cook them. I have to prepare them. I know. Everybody kind of gets freaked out by them because they do not look nice. They're chicken feet. However, they are really, really good for dogs. They have high collagen, high glucosamine, and they help to clean the tartar off the teeth. So the dogs go crazy for them. This is something the dogs absolutely love, and the owners do not like to give to them because it's gross. So I tell people just kind of throw it and they'll go off and they'll hide it or something and eat. But that's really, it's a good seller. It takes a long time to make too. It takes 30 hours.
Now, I know a lot of people like to give their dog the rawhide treats, but the more I've read about how bad that is, I don't give them to Cagney anymore, my precious dog. So your treats are all natural. Let's talk more about that. Where do you get your products, etc.?
They are all natural. There's no preservatives, no hormones, no antibiotics. I get all the products from the farmers markets, from Waccamaw Farmers Co-op, and I also get them from local farms. So I try to keep all the ingredients I get in the local community. That way, as a small business, you're helping each other. Except for like coconut and bananas, obviously we don't grow those, but I make sure I get those organic.
So let's talk a little bit too about your balm oil, or something that you put on the dog's paws. I thought that was fascinating from your website.
It's called Soft Paw, and what it is, it's coconut oil, vitamin E oil, shea butter, and local beeswax from Mountain Man honey. And what else am I missing? And olive oil. So what it does, if your dog's paws get really rough or they smell like Fritos, because some dogs' feet smell like Fritos. They don't want it, but it's okay. Molly's do. It helps to eliminate that odor because coconut oil is a natural antibacterial. So it helps to get rid of that because dogs sweat through their feet. So it helps with that.
And finally, Tara, I know you've been very benevolent to the local shelters, especially the Grand Strand Humane Society. We were over there last year for an event with Cagney, and we had Cagney tasting some of your treats, and she loved anything that you had with peanut butter. So so we learned a lot about natural treats from you, and you've certainly educated us well today. So we want people to go to your website because you have an opportunity there for people to order, and then you'll ship, right?
Yes, we ship all over the country. I actually even ship to England and Canada now.
Good for you, Tara. When other small businesses are struggling, Molly's Morsels is doing great. Tara, it's sad that something so terrible has led to something good, but you know, God does those sorts of things, doesn't he? He certainly
yes, he does.
Gives you a path of success, and I'm happy for you. And finally, there was one more thing I saw on Tara's website, and that was this: never make snow angels in a dog park. Think about that. Happy New Year, Tara.
Thank you, you too.
What's new at Hobcaw in Georgetown? The Scoop, next on Inside Out.
As fellow community members, HTC believes in helping friends and neighbors protect what matters most. With integrated home technology, I can control my home and security system from my smartphone. HTC Security makes my job easier and keeps my world running smoothly. No matter where the day takes me, HTC brings reliable, world-class security right here to Horry and Georgetown counties, because you are here, and so are we.
Upgrade your security with a video doorbell from HTC.
HTC. This is life. Connect with it.
This segment of Inside Out is brought to you by Magnolia's at 26th for good old-fashioned Southern comfort food, where Mama eats.
It's a new year, so let's find out what's new at Hobcaw Barony. I want you to meet Richard Camlin. He's been at Baruch Foundation and Hobcaw Barony for 24 years.
That's right, 24 years.
That's almost a quarter of a century.
Yes, it is, but it hadn't felt like it.
And you love your job. You know, tell people about Hobcaw, because people pass there all the time and some never stop.
It's a great place. It has so much that people might not know about. We have a lot of history. We have a lot of ecology. We exist for research purposes for colleges in South Carolina and other states as well. But we do a lot of public programming. We have a great nature center, so to speak, at the front gate for people to stop in and see and learn about us too.
You have a lot of animals down there too that a lot of people never see anywhere else unless they take a tour.
That's true. We do have quite a bit. We've got lots of birds. We have pigs, alligators, snakes, deer, you name it. If it's in South Carolina, it's a good chance it's here.
Let's talk about some of the things that you're going to be doing in the first part of the year to get people excited to get out and enjoy nature, because even with the pandemic, there's a great opportunity to get out and do some things with you guys because you keep everybody socially distanced.
We do. We're thinking outside of the box. We normally control people by taking them on buses, and we're doing everything outside. People drive their own cars, so they're safe. But we're doing a lot of hikes. We're doing those pretty regularly to get people in different locations that you can't go to on normal tours. So we're excited about offering some of those.
And they get to walk a path that Winston Churchill used to walk.
Just might be one of those. There's no telling. There's so many roads out here, 90 miles.
I know you've got a lot going on in January, but since this is January, we want to remind everybody to go to the website and see what's happening. So let's kind of talk about February. Are you doing a camellia and tea in February?
We are. This is going to be, I believe, our third one. And me being a guy, I actually think it's a lot of fun. But of course, I'm there listening to the French music and looking at all the setup. But we do it at Belfield around the swimming pool. And our horticulturist, Patricia Michaud, talks to people about camellias, teaches them how to graft them, how to air layer. And the hit part is people get to wax a camellia and take it home with them. It makes it last a lot longer than it normally would if you just cut it and put it in arrangement.
Then do you actually have tea with it?
We have tea, and we have a little bit of a light lunch. So it's not a full-on English tea by any sense, but it's a nice event.
You don't make tea from the camellia, though.
It actually is.
Okay.
We're not picking camellias and making it, but we are making tea from the japonica.
Wow, that is really cool.
It's pretty neat.
So let's talk about some of the other things coming up in February and March. Just look at your list and run down them.
Let's see. So again, we're doing some hikes. We do have ongoing public tours. We're doing a couple of things through Zoom, especially dealing with NASA and solar system. We do a lot of solar system programs throughout the year. So we have a lot of that taking place. One of my favorites, we're actually going to be doing this early March, but we're doing a program at Belfield. It's the Belfield grounds. The house is not open, but wintertime is the best time to see it. So we get to walk, learn about Belle Baruch and so much of what she did for our area.
What do you think is the greatest legacy of Hobcaw and Baruch and Belle?
You know, I really have to say it's probably the research. There's so much that people have learned through the 50 plus years of research that's taken place at this property, and without Belle, that wouldn't exist.
I know that you've got some wonderful boat tours that people enjoy, and it's a great time to get out on the boat. It's not too hot.
That's right. We started this. It's a great opportunity for people to see some of the special parts of Hobcaw that you cannot do in a bus or a car. We go on a pontoon boat, and we're doing smaller numbers, 4 passengers, the captain and me, and we circumnavigate North Inlet, which is one of the cleanest estuaries on the East Coast that when Belle Baruch died, in essence, protected the majority of North Inlet. So we've not been able to do that lately, but we're putting it back on the slate, and we're hoping to get people out on the water again. We're also planning to hopefully do our Baruch Roundtable. We have Natalie Dupree coming to do a talk and a dinner. We may have to postpone that, but we're hoping we can get back into doing some things in the house as well. And again, we'll be doing our tours as on an ongoing schedule as we have been.
Where can people get more information about a monthly or weekly agenda?
Our website, hobcawbarony.org, would be the best place for that. We are adding some things, kind of like pop-up programs, as we feel that there's the need and the opportunity to do so.
Richard, what is your favorite? I know that's a loaded question. It's like asking someone which is your favorite child, but the fact that you do so many different things, there must be something that you do on a regular basis that you just really can't wait till the next one comes.
I love being at Belfield. I love doing the walking tours at Belfield. It's just so pretty. And I also love being out in the salt marsh. So doing the North Inlet boat trip is always a fun thing for me too. Lately, it's been great because I haven't been able to, we have docents to do tours, and now we're kind of short on people, and it's given me a chance to get back out there and do more. And I'm loving it. I've missed it. So it's just being on the property is such a special treat.
You mentioned just a minute ago Patricia Michaud, and she's just wonderful with all the agriculture and horticulture and all of that out there. And I think an important part is what you're doing to feed the hungry people of Georgetown County, and that doesn't always get put into focus.
No, it doesn't. But we have a victory garden, and she's in charge of that. And Belle Baruch it's the same victory garden that Belle Baruch had. And so Patricia and her team of volunteers, they go out and work whether it's hot, buggy, or cold, and all the food that gets grown goes to local food banks or churches. And we do programming. We actually have some family programs. We have some children's programs and school programs we do there as well.
Any final words before we wrap it up?
Come and see us. You're missing out if you haven't been here yet.
Absolutely. It's Hobcaw Barony. It's Georgetown. A lot of people think it's South Pawleys Island, but it is truly already in Georgetown. Before you cross that bridge, it's Georgetown. Happy New Year, my friend Richard Camlin. Thanks so much. And I want to take that boat tour sometime before the end of the year. Maybe we can do some video and take all of our viewers on the same tour.
That'd be great. Thank you.
Thank you, my friend. Take care.
All right, you too.
There's an old nonprofit with a new name and a new mission. You'll hear all about it when we return. Proper serving, proper distancing. We're into safety at Magnolia's. Our staff now plates your food with all your favorite choices from the buffet, salad bar, and dessert bar, and it's still all you can eat. There's also breakfast, evening, and an expanded Sunday buffet. Mama says she can't cook it that cheap. Plus, the kids will love the yummy ice cream machine. Magnolia's, good old Southern comfort food. It's where Mama eats.
As fellow community members, HTC knows the precious value of family time spent together. That's why HTC delivers faster speeds, 24/7 local tech support, and free Wi-Fi. No matter where the day takes me, HTC serves up the world-class high-speed internet you need to stay connected to your world. Because you are here, and so are we.
High-speed internet starting at 300 megabits per second and up to 1 gig for just $49.95.
HTC. This is life. Connect with it.
So if you're wondering what else is new for 2021, there's a lot of new stuff going on. And I found an old nonprofit organization with a new name and lots of new stuff under their belt. This is Sarah Pope, and Sarah is with what was SOS Healthcare, is now SOS Care. And
Yes.
why the name change, Sarah?
Well, we did a lot of work with Coastal Outdoor Advertising to really see who was following SOS Healthcare, what did SOS Healthcare mean to the community, and what we found from all of the responses was that having the word health in the middle of our name threw people for a bit of a loop, because we weren't really providing health care. We were providing services to people with disabilities. And so the rebranding took that word out and helped us focus on what we're really doing, which is providing programming for people with autism and intellectual disabilities and other disabilities too now.
It amazes me because you're not just over this community, you have a huge job.
Yes, I do. We have, we have some adults we serve in the Greenville and Spartanburg area, and then we have some folks in Darlington that we've been working with, and then we have a big team in the Tri-County Charleston area.
It's amazing how you have branched out. When I interviewed you many years ago, you were, always intellectual disabilities and primarily autism, but now you're even working to help those with disabilities get equipment that they need.
That's right. So, we partnered with Adea's Gift of Hope, which is a beautiful program, and there's so many people with other disabilities that need assistance with equipment and funding for equipment.
And so if someone had a need and they, for instance, they needed a wheelchair and they couldn't afford it or they couldn't find what they need, you can kind of help them orchestrate through the system, maybe even find some grant money?
Yes, so that they would fill out an application and they're reviewed by a board. And then if there's an immediate need, we would try and help immediately. Otherwise, they're on a quarterly cycle. And then we have some gently used equipment already in the storage area. And then other things, if it were new that someone needed, we would make sure we had enough funding to be able to purchase that for them.
And I guess with that being said, Sarah, it would be important for our viewers to know that if they have any equipment in their garage or their attics or things that they're not using, please know that you're the organization to donate to.
Absolutely. Those gentle used donations are perfect for us.
So as if you're not doing enough already, my goodness, you've got a project going on in Conway that's simply unbelievable.
Yeah, it's been a lot of work, and a lot of people have been involved in helping the project come to fruition. And now we are getting ready to move our first residents into Oak Tree Farm. And it's a low income housing community for people with disabilities. And we're very excited about the project. It's been a lot of work, but just exciting for the people that are able to have some independence, because that's what our mission is all about, is helping people to become more independent. And, there are no options for housing. So a lot of the people we're serving are living at home with aging caregivers, and they don't really have a solution for what happens when their caregivers aren't here anymore. And so we wanted to help solve that piece.
So how does that work? If someone moved in, is there a caretaker, so to speak, that lives on the property who oversees? I mean, how does that work?
Yeah, I mean, for the first group of people that are moving out, they're pretty independent, and their families are going to be very involved in their day-to-day needs. And then we have team members that provide healthcare, holistic health sort of services. So they're helping with cooking and nutrition and exercise and things like that. And then we have employment coaches on our team already, and they'll be helping to make sure people are employed, or they have volunteer positions and things that they would like to do every day. And then as we build the next phase, which is much bigger, we'll have 50 people moving out there. And we'll be building a community center that provides all of those services that are needed.
Whereabouts is it located in Conway?
It's right on Medland Parkway. So it's right off of 501, just past Conway High School.
Oh, I hope that some of our folks who are watching might offer to volunteer over there.
We would love some partners. There's going to be a lot of needs, and there's going to be a lot of things that we would like to be able to do in the community center. So when we move these next 50 out in the next 18 months or so, we'll be looking for people that have a special talent that would like to come and, provide a class, an art class or a yoga class or cooking, and just to come visit sometimes. We want to share, and some people love to cook and come by and provide meals and things like that. And a lot of our people that will be living there, I'm sure, would like to provide some services back to the community as well, because we have a lot of people with a lot of great talent.
I remember during this past year, you initiated a program called Project Lifesaver, and I wanted you to share that info with our viewers.
Yeah, so Project Lifesaver is actually, it's been around for quite a while. It's a national or international actually program now, and it's really been used a lot for search and rescue. So there are people with autism and other disabilities, and also people with dementia, and sometimes they wander. And so we have a device that they can wear that's monitored by public safety. And so it's really connected to the 911 system. So if somebody wanders or goes missing, you can call in the serial number that you have that's connected to the wristband that they're wearing, and it will identify where they are. And public safety folks and emergency responders can go out and find that person.
I think what I love most about you, Sarah, and this organization is that you started out doing one or two things, and you kept seeing a need, and you kept seeing another need, and you kept enlarging. And one of the things I think that's really great is that you heard that there were a lot of people with disabilities out of work. They needed to do something. They needed to feel important. And you've kind of created an employment opportunity.
Yeah, we have some great partners in the community that love having our people work there. And there's so many that it would be hard for me to name them all, but places like Good Day Cafe and Old Navy and Publix. I mean, we've got people in various places that all have different skill sets, and the community have been very warm and welcoming and letting us come and help train their team and help train our person to be a good employee. And they're doing really well.
Well, they've got a great leader, wouldn't you say? This is Sarah Pope, and the organization is SOS Care. And at least when you see the billboards or see them advertised anywhere in the media, you'll know this is the head honcho. Happy New Year. Have a blessed New Year, Sarah. Thanks for being with us.
Thank you. You too. I really appreciate you taking the time. Thanks, Diane.
The information's right there. If you need Sarah, give her a call. February is always a month filled with passion, and Inside Out will be no exception. We're going to visit Georgetown and a hot new restaurant with a great Valentine's dessert. We're going to meet up with an artist, an author, a hobbyist turned entrepreneur, the Conway Quilts Guild, and a whole lot more. So why don't you join us next month for another edition of Inside Out. Happy New Year, y'all.
Inside Out is presented by HTC. This is Life. Connect with it. And Magnolia's at 26th for good old-fashioned Southern comfort food where Mama eats. Along with the McGuire Law Firm. Be kind today and tomorrow.